everyone. Welcome to Using Clip Studio to create your series. We have Jenna. She is creator of Enjoy the Show. She will be walking us through the lovely program Clip Studio she uses to create her series. And we also have Clip Studio Paint with us as well. So Jenna's waving, so everyone say hi. And I guess I'll pass it over to Jenna.
Awesome. Well, I am really excited to be here today, and I love Clip Studio. I use Clip Studio every single day when I draw my comics, so it is an honor to be here with you guys. A lot of the information that I am going to be going over will be more geared towards beginners, but I would venture that there are some tools, maybe some features that even advanced users have not used before. So hopefully there's going to be a little bit for everyone, right? So let's just start from the very beginning. You have a webcomic idea, you wrote the story, you love it, it's awesome, good to go, right? So let's start drawing. So start with File, New, and then there's a lot of preset formats up here, including animation, traditional comic pages, etc. We're going to focus on the Webtoon here. And you're going to want to name your file something like episode 3, okay? Make sure it's going to the right file. Me personally, I like to work on a canvas size that's 1600 by 30,000, but you definitely don't have to do that. Maybe your computer can't handle a file size that long. But something that I like about Clip Studio has offering here is preset dimensions here. So if you're new to it, you're not exactly sure what you want to try, maybe try one of these and that'll get you started. DPI at 300, jump down here to number of pages. I typically use like 5 to 6, but if you're new, you don't know how many pages you're gonna need, like don't worry about it. You can always add more files in this later. But for right now, we're just gonna stick with 3. Oh, and another feature down here is the record time lapse. We're not going to do it today, but super fun. You can record yourself drawing and then make movies from it later. But we're going to press OK. Give it a sec to load up. And voila! We have, so they're all blank because we haven't started drawing yet. But it's all in one place. You can see them side by side. And when you do that, it made this little folder here. And it labels your pages, page 1, page 2, page 3. It is so convenient to just keep it all in one place. Okay, so we're just going to double click on this one, and you're good to start sketching. I don't know, something silly like that. Okay, so you're sketching, you're sketching, you're sketching. I'm going to show you the 3D models now. And this is a feature that I think a lot of creators are a little intimidated by at first, just because there's so many controls to this. But if you just pull out your material tab here on the side, go down to 3D, body type, you could choose male, female. Let's choose female, we'll drag it out. And you have yourself a nice little drawing model. And you can control all the camera angles with these buttons here. These buttons, you can control more of the movement, and you can control like even each digit on the finger and the toes. Like, it's amazing. However, if you're doing this with all, like I do 40 to 50 panels per episode. If you're doing this with every single panel, it takes a lot of time to do it individually like that. But Clip Studio has your back. If you come over here to pose, and they have some poses that just come preloaded into the program. You could just click and drag.
Hey, Jenna.
Nice. Yeah.
We got one question. I think some people missed how you actually did the layer thingy, is what somebody said. How did you get the 3 layers?
So each file right here, it's a number of pages. It's 5. I didn't do a new layer.
Okay.
But I made
hopefully
files. Is that?
Yes, I think that actually makes sense. So it's the pages that you've created when you made the file.
Okay. And then pulled another I need to do that. There we go. And if you just wanted to change a hand position or something, you got that, which I think is really cool. Something else that I think is fun, if you come down here to the little gingerbread man, it's the pose scanner. It will take, okay, so I know what you're thinking. She is beauty, she is grace. Like, these are just some pictures I took just for an example. It will read any pose in a picture. So let's pick this one, and it will scan it through the system and then make it there. I think it's so cool. Like, I think the possibilities in this are endless. Like, you could play so much with this. And if you come to the tool here, do body shape, and you can control, like, maybe it's a more heavy set person, or they have like super short legs or something, you know. It will keep, and you can save your body type so that you can use it again and again. But yeah, definitely this is worth looking into, especially if you have really weird angles that you're needing to hit. This is very helpful. But we're just gonna close out of that now. All right, so we're gonna go back. This is a sample panel. I've started doing my sketches. I've got my Clip Studio simping here down below. But I have taken one of their 3D models, and I have sketched over it using it as a guide. Okay. And I like to sketch in red and blue just because it makes inking a lot easier to see my lines. But once I've got my sketches all done on my file, I come over to the frame tool. I like black, but you can use whatever color. And I like it there. And you're not going to be able to see it because of the frame background right here. So if you just toggle that, make it invisible, then you can see your sketch. Okay, and I like the frame tool because you have full control. Like, if you hold down the control button, you can make it any size you want. If you need to split a frame, you can do that. And then they kind of make their own mask layer. So anything that you draw inside here is going to stay in the box, which is super handy. But let's come back to frame number 1. We're going to come in here. I use the vector line tool, the vector layers, which is super handy. And I'll show you why in a little bit. But drawing in vectors is amazing. And I will never go back to any other way. I'm just going to start outlining here. And please note, like, there are endless ways of using this program. So if I'm doing something totally weird and foreign to you, like, every artist has their own preference, right? You just got to figure out what works for you. And I have plenty of creator friends that do not use the vector layers just because that's what they understand and know. And that's cool. But I'm just going to show you how I do things. But you notice how I'm sketching and I'm purposefully going outside the lines, okay? But if you come over here to eraser, vector erase tool, make sure it says erase up to intersection, and you can, boop, magically make those lines go away. And this saves so much time. But I'm just going to continue. And I have been, oh my goodness, I've been timing myself on this. So I'm just going to zip through this as fast as I can. But if you see, like, it makes it a lot easier, at least for me, and to go faster and, like, just kind of be sloppy with the lines a little. Like, don't worry about going over because you can always use that vector erase tool to take care of that. Are there any questions while I'm zooming through this?
Somebody did ask if whenever you're using the panel tool, if your panel edges ever get jagged, or does the tool ever lag on you, or is it pretty just useful in general?
It's pretty, I haven't had any issues with, I think it's the anti-aliasing effect on diagonal lines. Is that what they mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just your computer processing if you're having lag time on it. But I personally haven't had any issues with it.
Somebody asked if you can do this in the Pro version too, and I know that some features are only available in EX. So
Yes, some features are only available in EX. All the tools that I will be going over is available in the Pro version too.
Can I quickly interject? The page feature for Webtoons, you can make a Webtoon length page in the Pro version, but the page feature itself and the export version is only available in EX.
Oh, okay, good to know.
So because we have the page management feature in the EX version, so that's why that comes together with that.
Okay, yeah.
Just to clarify.
So I have the EX version. So worth it. Like Clip Studio saves me so much time.
I remember when we saw those features being previewed on social media and Webtoon Office went crazy. We're like, we can export now.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Somebody did ask also if you've made your own brushes, and I guess that might be something you can show them if you do save and make your own brushes.
I do, but I got a lot of things. I think that's like something maybe I could show at a later time if you hit me up on Instagram or something. But hold on. Okay. So the line art is done. So vector line art, each line has its own segment, so you can manipulate it in any way that you need afterwards, which is one reason I love vector line work. But also I come to correct line width, and then I do thicken by 1 pixel. And then I kind of adjust, like I hit some major facial features, kind of hit around, just to give more weight to some of these lines that are around the outside. Do more variation. We'll come around. This is my character Violet from my comic, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. She works at a movie theater, and she has her work uniform on right now. But okay, so line art is done. Now my next step is I'm going to do my flats. So I use my vector line art layer as a reference, this little lighthouse here. Come down to the raster layer below it, and I use the auto select tool, and I select everything outside of what I want colored. So all of the outside, and then I come down here to invert that selection. So now all of the spots inside the line art are selected. Then you usually start with like the hair color. We'll do that. And because her hair isn't touching her uniform, I'll do that. We'll come up, I'll use the paint bucket tool. Do you see how quick and easy this is? And this method may not work if your style is more painterly or sketchy. I make sure that my line art is very clean and closed off before moving on. There we go. And then maybe one more layer for the eyes and her name tag here. Cool. All right, so flats, super easy. That was fast. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my bottom layer, which is the hair and the uniform. I'm going to lock transparent pixels. And then I'm going to start some basic cell shading. People they get surprised sometimes when I tell them I use the turnip pen for all my line art and all my coloring. And I keep it simple because I knew going into the webcomic world that I'm going to be coloring and inking like 50 panels a week, So I tried to keep it as simple as possible. And then I come in with the airbrush and then I soften out those lines. Again, just very simple cell shading here.
Jenna, we have actually a question. They always hear the term cell shading. What is that?
So cell shading actually refers to old-timey animation, comes from the animation world, where they would draw the line art on these individual cells and then color it in and just use a solid color. And like, it's not fancy shading or anything. It's just you're blocking colors in. I don't know if that helped. But yeah, I just do very simple. And then again, I come in with this lighter color and I just even out the harsher edges. And then I'll come in, maybe do some highlights just to make it pop. There's not really any rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of hit it where I think the light would hit most. And that's pretty much the jacket. Okay, so we'll come up to this next layer here. Lock transparent pixels. That's the skin. I have pre-selected colors. My color palette is like a hot mess down here, but it makes sense to me. So again, no right or wrong way to use the program. You just got to figure out what works best for you.
And this is a question for me, but you are able to save palettes for different characters, correct?
Yes.
With working in Clip?
Yep.
So that way, you know, creators can always refer back to those colors rather than eyedropping or opening up old files. You can always keep your colors on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said, what is the function of locking transparent pixels?
So what it does, okay, so instead of using masking layers, which I think the majority of artists use, so if we take the eyes, for example, and the name tag, if I don't lock those transparent pixels, I can draw anywhere, okay? But if I lock the transparent pixels, so all these pixels outside of it is like I won't be able to draw on the transparent pixels, if that makes sense. See, so if you've got a base, you won't be able to, because the name tag is on its own layer, so technically all of these pixels outside of that layer are. And then you know what, I forgot, I come in with an airbrush, do a little blush, and I do her lips in the same color. And then I'll come in with a highlight, just make it pop. Okay, maybe a little cheek there. Okay, and then last step, I'm gonna make a layer above that, set it to add glow. And I'm gonna come in and do some hair highlights. And I use the lasso selection tool, and it's gonna look a hot mess for a second here. And I'm just doing this super duper fast, okay? And then I come in with the airbrush erase tool and just soften those edges. There, and see, she's all colored. And if you want to stay organized, you can add a folder and put her in there, and she's in her own folder. Okay, moving on. So we're going to be talking about backgrounds now. And there are a lot of different options. Obviously, you can hand draw the backgrounds, but there's some days where you just don't have time or the energy. Clip Studio has a lot of options for you to choose from. If you come up to your material folder, color pattern, and backgrounds, like this one, she could be in the forest, she's frolicking, and this one, you know, she's indoors, and maybe on top of that, you can add some lighting. I like to pick a color from the background and maybe just kind of hit it. And there's specialty brushes. If you don't have a good bulky brush, I can hook you up. And all of the, like, there's infinite amount of brushes and pens and markers and stuff to choose from the asset store. And I could spend all day in the asset store because it's amazing. But maybe there's some sparkles. I don't know. We'll call that done. Okay. But if we come down, I'm going to show you another way to make backgrounds a lot easier. So if you come to 3D, backgrounds, they have entire models here. And these are just preloaded. These are the preloaded ones. You can go to the asset store and find a lot more or build your own. And I really like this one, but you can move it around. You can zoom in, zoom out. So this is just a little trick here. All right, so you get it where you want it. You can rasterize that. And then if you come up here, back to our colored backgrounds, there's one that is a really pretty cityscape. Where did it go? Where did it go? Here we go. And you can just add that like in the background somewhere. And boom, you have background. I mean, you can go over top of that with some environmental lighting and stuff. I would usually maybe add some people or trees or something, but you can get really creative with it. Something else I want to show you guys this file here, the manga material. And if you come here to effect line, like look at all these flash lines and stuff right at your fingertips, and you can just drag it over and it's suddenly more exciting, you know? And then also, if you come up, let's come back to Violet. If you come to do like sign, maybe she's surprised by the hair she's holding. Oh, so surprised. Or maybe there's one that's, yeah, the little veins. Maybe she's angry. There's so many little shortcuts and stickers and tools and stuff that Clip Studio provides that I think are super fun to play with. Next, once you get it all colored, the background's awesome how you want it. I usually do the speech bubbles, and there's a balloon tool here. And these are just the ones that I've downloaded. I tend to stick to this one. It comes preloaded on the program. And we're gonna bring that up. There we go. Okay. And then you use the typing tool, and you can, she's very enamored with this hair in her hand. And if you hold down the control button, you can move it however you need. Come back to the balloon tool, and all of the tails are down here. So maybe she's just talking, or maybe someone off screen is talking, or maybe she's thinking it, or maybe you want like a weird tail for some reason. The balloon pen also, you can draw your own stuff. There's a ton of different balloons that you can choose from that you should definitely check out. Yeah, we'll come down here and maybe it's the next day. Boom, boom, boom. Very ominous. So let's say you get the panel, you've been working on it, you've been building your layers, you get it exactly how you want. I'm just going to show you, this is one of my files from my comic. This is from my first episode. I have recently redrew it, but you can get an idea of all of the little tools, stickers, like I use it all. And Clip Studio makes it really easy here. And if you want to see what my layers look like, each panel, so each frame has its own subsection, and it stays really organized that way. And I can choose, these are all frames here. But okay, so you have it, you have the file the exact way that you want it. You're ready to upload to Webtoon. This is a big step, guys. So you come over to File, Export Webtoon, and you can choose JPEG or PNG, doesn't matter. And I like to, I ignore this one. I come down to specify width and always 800. 800 pixels is the widest you can go when uploading to Webtoon. So just set that to 800 and it'll figure it out. Okay. And then if you come down here, you can divide it, it'll splice it for you. But Webtoon is so awesome, and they have been listening to their creators. You don't have to do that anymore. When you upload to Webtoon, it will automatically slice it for you, which I think is super nice. But if you export pages separately, okay. And then if you come here, Oh, I lost. Uh-oh. Here we go. It was thinking. Okay, so finally, this file right here, it's shrunk down to 800 by 15,000. That file right there is ready for Webtoon. You can upload that, no problem. That's about all I had planned today. If you have any questions or you're exploring some of these features and you're just getting confused, Clip Studio has an official forum that I would highly recommend checking out because they have all of the answers.
Thank you, Jenna, again, and have a great day, everyone.
See ya!